Hey everyone, this is part 2 of our conversation with Andrea Ferguson. If you haven't yet heard part 1, head back on over to episode number 51. That episode is full of so much wisdom, and we split this episode into 2 parts because we honestly had such a long conversation. It was so heartfelt, the three of us. So if you haven't yet listened to that, head back on over. But without further ado, here is part 2 of our conversation with Andrea. You are going to love it. What is the difference between coping and true internal capacity? And how does somebody know which one they're doing?
It's a great question. So yeah, this is what I saw in the fitness. This is what I was like, oh, I almost feel like I'm providing a coping mechanism here.
You're the drug dealer.
I did. That's what it felt like. It literally felt like that because I was like, oh my goodness, I'm just enough relief to stay in their situation.
Yeah.
And if you're seeking relief and it's escape, there's an energy of I need escape and I need relief. And so that's how it's a pretty solid sign you're coping. And the coping is about, I just got to get through. I just got to get through. That ends up being very, very high functioning, very capable, very reliable, very productive, but you're overriding your system.
Yeah. You're successful on paper.
Yeah. You're overriding your system. You're minimizing your needs. You're staying in motion. So quite often we're staying in motion because I'm actually uncomfortable with discomfort. And I have not been taught. And this is where I want to make sure people understand, to take away the self-blame. To take away the self-blame is that we have not been taught how to feel discomfort. We've not been taught how to really actually move through that. We keep being taught how to manage stress. Yeah, but what we really need to be doing is growing internal capacity. And so a lot of people kind of manage stress through coping. So I go do something that gives me an immediate form of relief, but then I haven't actually changed any internal patterns. Yeah. So I just go repeat the cycle again, and then I need relief again.
Yeah, you haven't built the muscle.
No.
Yes. And would you say that is similar to resilience then?
Yes. So I always like to picture it as like there's a window, right? There's a optimal zone, and on the upper zone, we would call that our, your hyper. It's called hyperarousal. You're in overactive state, and then on the lower end of it, we're in our hypo or sort of underfunctioning state. So overfunctioning, underfunctioning.
Yeah.
And we have our optimal zone, and most people are just swinging between the overfunctioning, underfunctioning.
Yep.
And their middle zone is missing, or it's really small.
Yeah.
It's not missing. I shouldn't say it's missing. You'll connect to it when you're on vacation or when you get out of the stressful situation. So you're probably able to be in your window. But we don't want to have to need vacation to be there.
Right.
How do we develop that zone so that we can have an everyday life? That's my thing. That's my
how do we do it?
I'm obsessed about. That was my obsession, is how do we live our everyday life? How do we navigate challenges? How do we live in our real everyday world and maintain that optimal capacity?
Yeah.
That's the question.
Yeah. Not hustle and grind and then watch.
How do we develop that? How do we grow that? Now you're always going to have those, over functioning and under functioning tendencies. Those aren't necessarily going to go away. So you're not going to slip in. But it's when I catch myself there, how do I bring myself back into my optimal zone, not swing between the two?
Yeah. And miss out on the middle, which is where all the good stuff happens.
Yes. And so we can grow that capacity. And that's really what we do in our program is we help you actually develop that skill and grow your capacity for everyday life.
Yeah. Yeah. And we wear the Aura ring. I don't know if you're into the biometrics, but wearing it, and I didn't want to wear a biometric. I didn't want more tech, if you know me. But I had somebody in my life was like, let's do it together. And I said yes. And I actually love now that we have quite a circle watching. And it is so interesting that it's one of the things that I love the best out of it. It's like, yes, it tells me if I had a great sleep score, I kind of know. Yes, it tells me how many steps I got. I know. Yes, it tells me all of these actual, real-time data, my heart rate and what have you, my temperature. But the way that it shows me how I have built resilience over time, how much time I have spent in stress versus not, is the most fascinating part for me. And then recognizing what I'm doing to get there. And I am someone that I am lucky enough to call you a friend, and I have developed some of what you're talking about to see it in real time, but I didn't believe it until I actually started doing it and I could feel it in me when I got the ring. I was like, I'm not crazy. I'm awesome. What would it have looked like back then? So if you're somebody out there that has a tool that shows you a readiness score, or your HRV is a great one to look at, your chronic stress, these things, you might not even have an awareness of how much time you're spending in that high functioning state, which is causing you to drop right through the good stuff. Like you're saying, to the, I'm on my couch for 3 hours watching Netflix at the end of the day because it's all I can manage. And someone might look in at me and say, oh, she's relaxing now. You're not relaxing. You're sitting there feeling guilt, and you are, running through whatever. You're still in it. You're just in the, and then wake up the next morning and go back right through. So this beautiful picture you've painted of the middle.
Hmm.
I want to
I
know more
love the
about it.
tool. I'm all about that bringing the awareness back to really understanding our body and learning how to listen to
Yeah.
your body. And
Yeah.
I love what you said there. You said, I have this device that helps me tune into my body. And you said, oh, and I knew that. Yes, we do. Our body is, when we're tuned in, it is so clear. It's
Yeah.
not a mystery, but we're
Yeah.
not, we're disconnected and we're not
Yep.
tuned in.
Yeah.
You have no idea how to tune in. So there's a process of reconnecting and rediscovering and learning how to really listen to your body. That's a beautiful tool that that you have to help you really learn that, which is wonderful.
And now I could throw it away. I wear it because we are in a community of people, and I like being in if something I love is being together. It's my favorite place to be.
Yeah.
But honestly, I could chuck it out. And I now have come to a beautiful place in life where I have this collection of things that I know can do it. And then it's a choice.
Yes.
I know there's when you know how. Now there's no more excuses, but it's not the time to be done with an Andrea when you've gathered a few tools, because I learned how to do breath work. It doesn't mean everything changed for me. I learned how to meditate. I started going to yoga. I made so many changes. I would still end up there. We need a little more.
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
And that's that integration piece about really making sure that we're integrating in everyday life and like shifting those patterns in real time.
Yeah. You can't just do it at the retreat.
No. Yeah, those are wonderful starting points, awareness points.
Yes.
They can, crack you open, have big aha moments.
Yeah.
But then how do we then take what we learn there and apply it in every day?
Yeah.
And that's my obsession, is that we must be able to turn this into practical, everyday, real time practices that actually make a difference.
Yeah.
Who cares if we know? Who cares if we just know better? If knowing better doesn't lead to actual change, that's frustrating.
Yeah.
It's really frustrating.
Yeah.
So how do we actually do better? Taking off this pressure of doing more, because it's not so about doing more.
Yeah, exactly. And I love that you called working with you and in your program integration, because it's, that is what it is. Integrating these things that into your life so that it's actionable and you're being the person you want to be.
And we're terrible at it. We're terrible at the integration as humans. I'm talking to all of you.
Yeah.
We're so good at setting the intention. Some people, like a lot of you're talking to high functioning, high achieving, successful women. Yeah. We are so good at setting the intention. So often we know what we want, and we're good at the wanting. And the only thing that takes away the wanting is the having. So we can go from there to there to there. So we are so good at setting the intention. We are great at giving ourselves an experience. We will sign up for the retreat. We will pay the money for the thing. We will have all of this come in. That third piece is like, as a society, I would say, as a humanity, we are crap at integration, unless you're living in the East as part of a beautiful community that's been doing it for thousands of years. But we Westerners, what the heck, with not understanding, you cannot wake up the next morning and go back to being your old self and expect all that work you did to just happen by magic and fairy dust. It's just the beginning. And I mean, I love that, we had you describe your journey, because you set the intention. You did all that work. It took years to get you to the beginning. And the integrating of that decision you made has been what everything else looks like from there. So integration can look so different, right, for everyone, but it's going to involve a community, because it always has. There is no one that has done integration in any of the ancient cultures, of any of the practices that have been meaningful in transformation. Nobody has done it in isolation. And I think we are in a place in the world where we think we're going to do it by ourselves, and we'll just sit behind the computer screen and we will go and I love alone, but I don't love lonely. And there, to be able to identify the difference between those two things, to me, comes from how you did the integration, so that you can learn to love alone and you can love still, because it doesn't have to feel lonely. So I know I'm jumping ahead, but
No, I'll wait. And I think we also said something about the importance of community
Yeah.
and not being alone. And it's because we have blind spots.
Yeah.
We have blind spots. I have not done this alone. I have worked with so many different practitioners and healers and coaches over the years because I cannot see all my stuff.
right.
And the irony of this is that we have a very strong, we use the word compulsion to repeat that default loop, a
Yep.
very strong
Yep.
pull because of the nervous system response. And so because of that strong pull, we'll typically only see what we
Yep.
want to see.
Yeah.
And we will often resist the very things that are for our highest good. And so we often need others to mirror that to us or
Yes.
to point to, hey, let's take the blinders off
Yeah.
or let's have you look here. And quite often, people have, again, painted a picture of this is what keeps me safe. And there's a belief that there's sort of safety in this, but there's actually so many other paths and possibilities that are open to you that you have not even considered
This is it.
that aren't painful.
This is it. But I think okay, I'm going to say this. Our perception is altered when our physiology is altered. And if you are one of these people who is living in constant normalized stress, chronic stress, fight or flight, you're in survival, you're in emergency mode, and that's your life, and you've rationalized why, because you're a hustle, grind, get it done. You said the word hustle for worthiness. That hit me. Like, how much unworthiness is going on out there. And then when you add the hustle for it, that to me embodies that description of what so many people come to us in that state. And then you're in an altered state. That is not homeostasis. That is not why people would look for an adaptogen in their life. And when we are there, our perception is altered, and you don't know it because your perception is altered. So you can't see. And this is what you're describing. We need often somebody to help us, just guide, a community, something else to help us see the reality that isn't what's inside our tunnel vision.
You're bringing attention to, I just had a client, actually a few client sessions last week that really, really speak to this. So someone came in and they were feeling so stuck. They were just like, their world was, they were like this and so stuck. And so we opted for a healing session that day. So
if you're listening and you're not watching on YouTube, what Andrea did was just put her hands over her eyes like blinders on a racehorse. She was feeling like this means like only seeing straight ahead. Yeah.
Yeah. Blinders on. So I really couldn't see possibility. Like I'm just really stuck. And so we opted for a healing session. Lots of different types of sessions we can do. And so we opted for a healing session. And so a healing session is we're just going to go in and we're going to listen to the body. And so I walked her through a process of just gentle listening. And we have a process that we use for that. And what was the most incredible thing about that is that I just walked her through listening. I held space. I asked questions that she might not consider. I helped give space and allow her body to express in the way that it needed to be expressed because she kept dismissing it and shoving it down and not listening and telling herself that she had to, must. And we gave her body permission to just express exactly what it wanted to express. It opened, it softened, it relaxed. We brought in a little bit of breath, just light breath, and it brought her right back into alignment. And all the wisdom was right there.
I have goosebumps all over my whole body.
It was right there. It was right there. It was just like, oh. And yes, I can share wisdom. And because we've been working together, she does have that. So she's able to come to that a little bit more cleanly, but it was right there.
Yeah.
And she was just like, oh.
Yeah. What comes up when we slow down? You've done it for me so many times, sister, like that.
And it's so important to have that person holding space for us.
Yes.
Because sometimes we just can't get there on our own. We need that compassionate person sitting next to us who genuinely cares and is interested. And that in itself is so incredibly healing. And it brings us back home to ourselves and the wisdom that's within there. It's life-changing. It really is.
It is life-changing.
Yeah.
So I just want to give an example of just how important this is that we're not always doing this alone because we just can't see all of it.
Yeah, totally. You know, in your experience working with women and even in your own story, because you have a lot of experience through all of the journeys and lifetimes that you've lived with all the things that you've achieved, how does physical depletion like burnout, exhaustion, someone's body feeling like they're giving out, connect to what's happening emotionally and psychologically? Like, do you think that the body breaks down first, or does the inner world break down first? Like the chicken or the egg situation.
Yeah, I think just evidence-based literature tells us that the body is a reflection of the internal state.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
Say
the
it again for the people in the back, Andrea.
Yeah,
Say it again.
The body is a reflection of the internal state.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's going to
Yes.
be a new information for a lot of people.
Yeah.
All those women that came to you that said, figured it out. When I lose weight, everything else is going to be fine. That's what I need to do. You heard her just say it.
Yeah.
The body is a reflection. You got to go within first. I think
I would say your life is a reflection. So your body and your life is a reflection of your internal state. Your relationships are also a reflection of your internal state.
Yes.
Yeah.
You called it the core self. I call it the soul. You can call it spirit. People call it all kinds of things. It doesn't matter. You're going to have to let it be seen. You're going to have to let it come up. You're going to have to release what's in there in order for the meat sack, skin bag that you're, dragging around to have some kind of effect, some kind of change. And that's hard to hear for some people.
I've heard it a lot where women say, I feel like my body is betraying me.
Yeah.
It's actually the other way around. It's like
Right?
the mind is betraying the body. It's the mind is actually not listening.
Yes.
The
body has become the mind.
Yes. And so, your body's not betraying you, it's trying to communicate with you. It's letting you know the most dominant, consistent pattern that's operating in your life. And that's simply being reflected in your physical state. And so when you can learn how to listen, and we really teach how to learn how to listen to your body. And then what do you do that once you get the message, what do you do? Well, that's the next piece, is how do we listen, and how do we make those shifts, and how do we make those changes? There's both the very practical changes, but quite often it's people often go, okay, I need to set the boundary. I need to communicate. I need to, I don't know, what are the other things that we need to do? Yeah. And those are all wonderful and practical, and they are important. Yeah. But without that internal shift first, or actually coming home to the body first and coming home to self first, those will often just lead you back into the same cycles.
Yeah. Okay. Here's a bit of a spicy one, because there's a lot of messaging in the wellness space, as you know, especially right now, around more discipline. You just need more. Squeeze a little harder. Optimize your morning routine. Do more to be more. I think we know that your honest take on that is that doesn't work. How does somebody who is listening, how can they discern between maybe when to push a little bit more and versus when to do a little bit less?
Yeah, I think it's important to understand that physical wellness is essential. We never want to say that that's not an important priority.
Yes.
Make sure all of those things are taken care of, as far as the basics of that is taken care of.
We call them the boring basics. You're not getting out of it, people. You have to sleep.
Yeah. The wellness and that your nutrition is on point, and et cetera. Things are balanced. It's all super important, but it can't fully compensate for chronic overdrive, emotional suppression, or a nervous system that doesn't feel safe to slow down. So it's not going to fix any of that. And so more discipline, more pushing harder, more discipline can often be, the way discipline is often done is people getting harder on themselves. I just have to energy, right? And think about that. That's just more pressure. More pressure. So you're right. It does. I liked consistency. We do need consistency in our lives in order to experience a result. Consistency is important. But if you're struggling with consistency, or you're struggling with discipline, you need to look deeper.
Yep. If you're procrastinating, raise your hands out there. Who's a procrastinator in that description? It all fits in that same thing. And we just recently did, I can't remember which episode it was, Dr. Des, but kind of a lightning round thing, and routine or fly by the seat of your pants was kind of the question being asked. And in my normal state, I want to just, fly by the seat of my pants, but I actually don't feel great that's fine when I'm on vacation or whatever, but I actually feel more of my true self when I do have a routine. But it doesn't mean my routine is rigid, and it doesn't mean it's packed with a gazillion things. It for me creates a safety when there's I will call it a rhythm for myself. And that
Love
does
that.
take some discipline, but it doesn't feel hard.
Yeah.
And that takes time to play with and adjust and get yourself there. Adding more trips to the gym because you're feeling guilty and you think that's going to be the thing, the more, that's not a rhythm. You've
Yeah.
actually gone outside of the rhythm of what your body might have gotten used to. And now that more pushing is pushing you further from that thing sometimes. So I love that, we're not saying you're going to meditate every day for 10 hours a day and this is you're quitting your job and you're just going to go within and then everything's no, you're still going to have to do the boring basics and create a rhythm in your life so that and I love that description of this extending the middle, extending, growing that middle zone. And
hmm
and that is where you're going to find a place to put the rhythm in that
Yeah.
space and put it all together to get to that abundance that I've seen you create with so many
I,
incredible women right in our community.
I love rhythm. I love that word. I think that's so much more aligned, especially for us women.
Yes.
And it's
Yeah.
about when you can learn to trust your own internal rhythms and
Yeah.
listen to those internal rhythms, consistency is naturally born out of that,
Yeah.
Yeah.
because you're just listening. And when you're listening and you're honoring, that's how it happens,
Yeah.
you know? And so I have become on the outside, I'm very disciplined. If you look at, so how I take care of myself, but I never think of it as discipline. I
Yeah.
think of it as an honoring. I think of it as a
Yeah.
nourishing. It is like, this is
Yeah.
how I be well. This
Yes.
is
Yeah.
how I ensure that I live in that optimal zone. And it's not an effort for me. Like obviously it
Yeah.
takes effort,
Yeah.
but I don't see it as this thing that I have to do in order to.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
I
just a
can relate
natural
to that.
extension of caring for myself.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think the word discipline is so often connected to like military or punishment.
Yes.
Like I'm going to discipline
Yeah.
you know, poorly behaved student or whatever it is. And then when we say the word, people have the negative connotation to it. But discipline can feel like a very renewing energy in the body because we are cyclical beings. The rhythm is we are in a world, we are part of nature, and there's nobody's going to deny that nature has a rhythm and is cyclical, and we're not different. And when we get into a routine and keep ourselves consistent there, it just feels better. It just
Yeah.
feels better.
And especially when it's aligned with you. And I think that's the key
Yes.
word is so important, is that routine or that for the practices that you put in there, how you're nourishing yourself is a reflection of who you are, rather than, okay, what is that person doing? What is that
Yeah.
person? I gotta do that. And it's like a check.
Yes.
There's a checklist that I'm going through because that's what everyone tells me I'm supposed to do in order to do well.
Yeah.
But I'm just going through this checklist in a chronic state of overdrive and it's not working because I'm going through a checklist.
Yeah.
I'm not necessarily tuned in and really listening and going, hey, what is my pattern and what is my rhythm? And what are the practices? Because there are actually so many practices, simple ones, some that are a little bit more detailed or more effort, but we have a whole range of practices.
Well, and I think working with somebody, so there's lots of programs and we were overwhelmed. We're overwhelmed. If you're on social
Yeah.
media, someone's selling you some program, the course that's going to fix it all. But if you are doing that without somebody specifically paying personal attention, your rhythm is not the rhythm of your BFF, and it is for sure not the rhythm of your husband. Like, my word, like if you think I live in a house with my partner and they are the opposite gender of you, just what's happening hormonally in the body and you trying to match that is going to make your life difficult. And then we think, okay, but I have women in my community, I'll do what they're doing. You're not them. You're not them. And if you are watching a recorded program or course and trying to do what every other person, the thousands of other people that are doing the same thing and not getting there, could it be that you're unique? Yes. And that's why I think working with you and in a program like what you offer, where you're actually working with, and you can describe to us a little bit more what your program, your method, your academy looks like, because that's to me the magic. It's so personalized. It's this recognition that you aren't just like the client I had yesterday or the one I'm going to have after you. And that only comes up when you take the time to use these tools, this beautiful one that you just shared with us. They are profound because they are this one-on-one or in a community, but in real time with real humans, not an AI written robot giving you something that's just about I don't want to say the word cheap, but we have to invest energy, we have to invest time, and we do have to invest financially if we want that experience to be the energy that's going to come back to us to make the big shifts. And I think that's hard for us right now because there's so many cheap options, just like there's cheap mushroom products. If there's a way to do it faster and there's a way to do it cheaper and there's a way to make it easy, somebody's going to do it. Somebody's going to build it.
And
They're doing it.
We're not those girls.
No, I am definitely. I am. It's so important. The actual transformation is so important to me.
Yes.
But I know that that's what I would be guided to do. But to me, that's going to, with what I know and what I have worked with and what I've been able to demonstrate through this, is that I know exactly what we need, and it's not taking away connection.
Yes. Yes.
We need to increase.
Amen to that.
Yeah, we need more. I mean, so much of the patterns and the reasons why we're in the positions we're in is because the original wounding or the original, harm, I guess you could say, it happened because we felt alone. And so in order to truly heal and to shift those patterns and find safety, we need to do that within connection. And so taking it away or making it so generalized, you'll get lost in that.
Yeah. It makes me so grateful for you. Like, bless your heart for being the one that says, I'm not going to do it the easy, fast way. I'm going to do it the way we were meant as human beings to do this kind of work.
Yeah. I mean, you've not just built this beautiful coaching program, but really now a certification academy as well. You are training other coaches in your method. Like, we need more of those people in communities to help others reach the best version of themselves, to self-actualize. What is your vision there? Like, what does this look like when your work, this work, reaches the scale that you're imagining?
Yeah. So in 2019, I actually had a huge download after a breathwork session or in a breathwork session. And I just had this essence of what I was meant to build. And there's this very strong inner knowing. And it wasn't a full plan. It wasn't a step-by-step picture. It was the essence of something. And so this is how I started to live my life once I sold the studio and stopped that hustle for worthiness loop. It was, how do I learn to listen? How do I just follow the next step and trust that guidance? And so I was just led into building a certification academy. So I had this program and everyone is, I want to learn how to do this. Teach me how to do this. So I actually I want to scrap everything I've done. I actually I retired everything. I put it all to
clean slate.
Burn it all down. Yeah.
It was amazing. And I just went every day. So I basically said, okay, I'm building a certification academy and I'm building a 1-year program with everything I know now. And then I built the academy. So I was teaching coaches how to coach. But then there's the coaching piece, which is the actual, how do you coach? And then there is what I call the mentorship piece, and that I believe that you need to do the work for yourself. So our coaching program is both mentorship and coaching. So you learn to become a coach and then you do our program. It's the signature program or the Fit program, what I call it. And so I built the academy to run like that. And then I also led it the same thing, just on the personal track, and running that same program for people who weren't interested in becoming coaches. With that vision, I always saw this, everyone is out there running their own coaching business, figuring out how to run a business. It's so much work,
Yes. Building a website, my word, there's better things to do with your life.
So much. There's so much that goes into it. And I think some people just want to coach. Yes. They want to be a coach. They want to just do this really meaningful work, but they don't necessarily want to be the founder, the person building the program, the tech, the scratch, and all that from scratch. So I saw this vision of, bringing on coaches who really just wanted to coach. And then I decided I would then build a platform. I was led next to build an actual platform, which is an online membership platform where these coaches who are trained in my method can then come and we collaboratively lead the program together. So this isn't individual coaches all running off doing your own business. This is come into our program. You work with our team of coaches, including me, and we have a very structured program with curriculum and all the integration is built in. That's it's both it's small group, like intimate container, small container, as well as a one-to-one, get one-to-one in it and all the integration built in. So you get that personalization. And it's about how to apply this to your own life. It's all real time.
It's all in real time.
The discussion is so rich. It's so rich.
Hmm.
Anyway, so I just saw this vision of, instead of everyone off doing their own business, come together, and the collective wisdom of everybody having walked this path together, we bring it together and lead the group and it together. And it's really beautiful.
And I love that.
The feminine way of doing business.
Yes.
The feminine way of doing business is that we do it together. We're not competing.
Yes.
We're not all competing against each other. It's like, let's bring our strengths together.
Yeah.
And how do we do this together? So that's what I built.
So that's
So
just
cool.
this little thing you built.
Yeah,
And what I
you know.
love is that then if I came to you and I want to get in this, and I'll be honest here. When I was watching I've always watched what you're doing, because I show up for a breathwork session. I show up for the retreat. I'm there. I'm watching it, listening to you, still soaking up the wisdom that's, evolving all of the time. And when I heard, what do you mean I'm not going to work with you? Right? I think because you're the face, you're the voice, you're the visionary, you're the creatrix. I think there's this, well, that's what I came for. But you don't know until you meet other people the match for what you need. And when we open ourselves up to allow there to be someone else, you don't know who you don't know. You don't know what's meant for you. You don't know what different, they say it a different way. There's a different energy behind it. There's maybe a different pace behind it. And you just said those people, those coaches that are trained by you have embodied the work. It's not just here's the curriculum, go teach it, which I think is so many courses that you take the course online and I'm certified. This is so much more than certification. This is, yes, there is a curriculum. I've seen it. It's extensive. I like to print things. It would probably be multiple binders. However, there's this expectation that if you're coming into the coven, because I just picture it, you are going to embody it. You're going to go through it. You are going to experience it in the way that changes you so that you're not the same person anymore. And now you can actually go and offer it and become the guide because you've been there. And if you haven't been there, I think that's an impossible thing to do. And
you got to walk the path. And so when you understand when someone's coming in needing to make those changes and making those leaps in life,
you're like, yep,
those challenges, you understand.
Yeah.
But
And it's a year.
Like, come on, you need to, it's like, no, oh, I get that. I understand that feeling. I understand what's coming up. And here's how we move through that, because I actually get it.
Yeah.
And I'm not going to minimize or bypass that in the moment because I don't fully understand.
Yeah.
Yeah. Wow. So powerful. Okay. For the woman who's listening right now, who is somewhere between, I know something needs to change and I don't know where to start. There's a lot of women who are listening. What is the very first thing that you would tell her to do?
I think give herself permission to listen. Give herself permission to listen to, really what the truth is, listen to what she wants. I think really starting off by getting honest with yourself, giving yourself permission to want what you want and to listen to yourself, and just noticing what feels off. Be curious about emotional regulation. I think that is one of the number one pieces of this. And lots of people don't fully understand it. So at the very least, get curious about it. It has some wonderment about what it might look like. What are the next steps around that? And just permission to change. And to just even allow yourself to dance in possibility. Sometimes if you're like me, I was like, this is the only way. I have no choice. And really you do. And I'm going to say that you won't regret it. When you start to listen and honor that, it will be one of the most rewarding things you do. And that's fulfillment. That's where fulfillment just comes from. Fulfillment comes from listening, to following. And what you'll need, the skill you'll need to do that is emotional regulation. That's one of the biggest pieces. So if you're curious about that, that's sort of a great place to start.
Curiosity. Who doesn't need more curiosity? And I think when you put curiosity and honesty together, now you've met every single person out there that knows they need to change, but hasn't yet in the why. And I agree with you. Emotional intelligence is what the world needs most. If it's the thing we could change in our school systems to do less math, because who's using what you learned? I will tell you, I have a high school student in my house. We're not using much of that in in some jobs. Engineers, I know, don't yell at me. Don't come at me. Some people need it. Most people don't. But what we all need across the board is a higher level of emotional intelligence as a humanity. And if you're honest with yourself right now, wherever you are, just ask yourself, what is my level of emotional intelligence? And if you're thinking, Brandi, I don't even know what that means. How do you respond to stress? How long is your, I call it the refractory period, when something comes at you, happens for you? What is your response or reaction to it? And then how long does that last? How much stress does that create in your life? How long are you asking your cells to sit in the soup of survival and emergency mode because of something that happened to you an hour ago, a week ago, 5 years ago? The level of emotional intelligence you have is related to the way you are in this moment when things don't go the way you wanted them to go. And then be honest with yourself about that. And if you can answer that question, you know what? When things don't go how I hoped they would go, I'm cool. You probably don't need Andrea in your life. For everyone else that just went, sometimes I just like being mad at what happened. And I could, patience isn't my strength and anger comes up for me. And I often feel guilty. And you're like, think about the emotions, the way things feel in you. Right? The word emotional intelligence is because your emotions are your feelings are your emotions. And like Andrea said, if you're going to start with the body, if you're going to go to the gym and lift weights and think that's getting you to future you, but you aren't dealing with the feelings and emotions that are your your day-to-day sadness, unworthiness, disappointment, frustration, hatred. How many times do we say, I hate that in a day? Listen to yourself. If you're saying it, you're Andrea's next client because that there's room for growth. There is room for more emotional regulation and more emotional intelligence in every single one of us. I'm still doing the work. Dr. Des is still doing the work. Andrea's still doing the work. There's always more love. Yeah. And that's what I feel coming from you when I get to work, when I am so, it is such a privilege to be able to be in your space and have you hold space and allow the growth. We're never going to stop growing. Till the day I take my last breath, I will still be learning something new that day and evolving to the greatest expression of ourselves. What else are we here for? What else are we here for? And that's the first book you told me to read all those years ago. And I was like, I don't know. There's a lot of woo-woo going on here. I don't know what you're talking about. Like, where do I start? And you gave me a list of books. You recommended a few authors to me. Eckhart Tolle was one of them. Neil Donald Walsh was one of them. Gabby Bernstein was one. I mean, you had a massive collection. And you told me to read Conversations with God, which freaked me right out. I'm like, am I going to church? No, it's not that. But I did read it. It wasn't the first one I read. That is a long series of books, but the whole message behind it is you're here to experience the greatest expression of that core self that can be had. And you listening right now know if you're there or you're not there. And if you're not there, you owe it to yourself because it feels amazing when you just touch it. Just touch wholeness for a second. And you'll fall back. You'll fall back into a state of healing. But when you touch it, you want more of it. And life gets really, really good. You get to have
from that place.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. Totally. Yeah. Okay. We're going to do a rapid fire gold nugget round.
Bring it home.
Okay. The biggest myth about high achieving women is, that's a hard one.
That they have it all figured out.
Yeah.
The thing that you had to unlearn before everything changed was
being who everyone else needed me to be.
Yeah.
But I had to unlearn what was me and what wasn't me.
So much wisdom.
Because what I was conditioned and who was I really. So learning to differentiate that.
Yeah.
So cool. If you could go back and tell 35-year-old you one thing, it would be?
Just keep listening, trusting, and following. I think that's when I opened my studio. And like, this isn't it. This isn't it. It's there's still so much.
You knew it.
Just this isn't it. And just to just trust that and keep following it.
Trust, listen, follow. I'm going to get that tattoo today.
The moment that you knew burnout wasn't a badge of honor was?
Hitting a brick wall, and I realized I'm here again, and I just felt like I kept hitting a ceiling. This is not sustainable. This is not something to celebrate. When I was there for the 100th time, this isn't a way to live.
Yeah.
The last time you hit burnout.
Yeah, this isn't a way to live. This isn't a way to live. This isn't sustainable. Why do I remember being like, I just worked 90 days in a row. I posted that somewhere. I was like so proud of myself.
Yes.
What?
Yeah.
Terrible.
Yeah.
People will,
Push
yeah,
beyond all my limits. But none of them, I was my mom with young kids at the time too. So like, what is that?
we do. We celebrate the like, I'm running on only 4 hours sleep. Like it's something to, no.
Like self-sacrifice and pushing through was a badge of honor. But yeah, no,
Yeah.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
not when
Wow.
your health tips.
Yeah, so much wisdom. Okay, if somebody listening just thought, I want to work with Andrea, I want to be a part of her programs, I want to get in touch with Andrea, where can they find you?
So the fitlifemethod.com is our website, and the Fit Life Method on social. So you can look us up there. From those access points, there is opportunities for just a right fit call. And that's just a complimentary call to come on and let's talk.
Yeah.
It's a conversation. It's let's find out if this is a right fit.
Yeah. No pun intended, the right fit.
Yeah.
Tell us what the FIT means, Andrea, the Fit Life Method.
So FIT is an acronym for fully in tune. So when we live fully in tune in body, mind, and spirit, we live our most fit life.
And now you know why we love her.
Beautiful.
And when I say we would never recommend something that we haven't done ourselves. So Dr. Des and I, we love this community, and we are always, our intention with every single thing we do at Eversio is to make people's lives healthier. And second is to educate about the kingdom fungi, which is why this is an unhinged episode that's a little different, because it's never one thing. And so many people come to us because they think they need to take the reishi to get the good night's sleep. And it's so part of it. We call it the small win, but it's never the whole thing. And that's why these episodes are here to say, we are here because we've done more than just the one thing. Yeah, I have mushrooms in my matcha right now. I do. I'm never going to stop. And I think Andrea does too. But all of us at Eversio Wellness have worked with Andrea. Andrea has worked with Craig and I as a CEO and his sidekick to be able to be better leaders. So I would say we started realizing what conscious business felt like with Andrea's guidance early on in the growing of our business. Ooh, I could get emotional talking about it. Those conversations were hard. You kicked our butts, but it was what we needed to understand what this would look like for us. And then because we felt so changed by the work you asked us to do, we brought you in for a team. So you have come to company retreats and you've done breath work with all of us and taught us a vocabulary, backside of the spiral, that we just, has made us better. It has enhanced our lives. So we are so grateful for you. And audience, that's why you met Andrea today, because she's somebody that has made our lives better. And if you're looking for someone to make your life better, get further closer to future you, Andrea is someone we highly recommend. We love you so much, and we're so grateful for the wisdom you shared here today. And yes, everyone, her links are in the show notes below. So check her out, ask us questions, and we will see you here next time on the Eversio Experience. Be well, everyone.
Be well.
Thank you so much for having me.
Thank you so much for being here today and for giving us this time with you. We hope that something in the episode landed, whether that's a new perspective, a piece of research that you hadn't heard before, or just a reminder that your health is worth taking seriously. And if someone in your life could benefit from what we talked about today, then please share this episode with them. That is genuinely how we grow. One conversation, one person at a time.
And if you're ready to bring functional mushrooms into your daily routine, we would love to support that. Head to eversiowellness.com and use the code podcast15 at checkout. It is our way of saying thank you for being a part of this community, and it saves you 15% on your order. And if you are not sure where to start, that's okay, because we have a mushroom wellness quiz on our website that will point you in exactly the right direction.
And if you haven't yet left us a rating and a review or subscribed to the podcast or followed us on social media, all of the links for that are in our show notes. And we would so appreciate your support there. It just helps us reach more people who need to hear this work. Thank you so much for sharing this moment with us.
Until next time, be well.